The film opens with John's narration as he explains how fragments of the Clark asteroid collided with Earth, wiping out nearly 75% of the world's population and contaminating much of the environment. The few survivors were forced to seek refuge in underground bunkers. 5 years later, John is shown scouting the area surrounding Greenland's Bunker Island, sending regular updates back to the base. During his search, he discovers several abandoned lifeboats scattered along the shoreline and a deserted destroyer ship. John boards the vessel to scavenge essential supplies and soon finds the dead bodies of the captain and crew, casualties of the catastrophe. As he pulls a diary from a drawer and begins to read, the base bunker suddenly issues an urgent warning. A massive, violent storm is rapidly approaching his location. If John does not return immediately, he will not survive. He rushes off the ship as the sky darkens, colossal storm clouds crackling with lightning stretching from the heavens to the ocean and advancing at terrifying speed. Realizing death is close behind him, John sprints toward the bunker, glancing back in panic as he desperately pleads for the doors to open. In the final moments, he narrowly escapes the storm and reaches Thule Air Base Station in Greenland. Removing his mask, John exhales in relief. Inside the bunker, a team meeting is already underway, with his wife, Allison, present. The group begins assessing the surrounding area and attempting to locate other survivors over the radio. At the same time, the bunker's leaders voice growing concerns about food rations, warning that if current conditions persist, their supplies will soon be depleted. Adam explains that if they can survive a few more months, it may become possible to grow crops outside the bunker. Dr. Amina counters that while radiation levels have decreased, the surface remains unsafe for humans to inhabit for extended periods. Allison then suggests they begin planning a migration beyond the bunker altogether. Dr. Amina reveals the existence of a crater in southern France, naturally shielded by surrounding mountains. This geographical protection has kept radiation levels lower and significantly reduced the risk of violent storms. However, some hesitate to go, fearing that active conflicts may still be occurring in the region. Meanwhile, John meets with his therapist, who reflects on the 5 years that have passed since the Clark asteroid struck Earth and nearly wiped out humanity. People claim they are coping, he says, but deep down they are still broken. That is why there are now more therapists than surgeons. Everyone carries the weight of trauma, whether they admit it or not. John adds that people try to forget the past and cling to hope, because hope is the only way to survive. Suddenly, the bunker begins to shake violently, as if an earthquake has struck. New dangers emerge as the Earth's tectonic plates start moving again, triggering tremors throughout the region. Although the bunker survived the impact of the Clark asteroid, fear tightens its grip on everyone inside. Whatever lies ahead is unknown, and they should be afraid. Soon, the bunker receives a distress signal from outside, sent by a group of survivors hiding in caves and the tunnels of abandoned mines. The message divides the community. Some argue they must help, while others warn that dwindling food supplies, potential disease, and radiation exposure could overwhelm the bunker's limited resources. After a heated discussion, the leaders decide to put the matter to a vote. In the end, the majority agrees to send aid the following day using a snowcat. Life inside the bunker continues. Children attend classes, reinforcing the belief that education remains essential, even in a world where survival depends on basic knowledge. Meanwhile, John works to repair malfunctioning systems, restoring water and electricity. Despite the harsh conditions, moments of warmth and happiness persist among the residents. John gives Allison a flower he recovered from the diary he found aboard the destroyed ship, a small reminder of life before the catastrophe. It is then revealed that their son, Nathan, had gone outside the bunker, if only briefly, without wearing a safety mask. His parents urgently remind him of the dangers above ground: radiation, toxic air, ash-filled skies, and dangerously low oxygen levels. Nathan struggles with life underground and finds it increasingly difficult to adapt to the confines of the bunker. As preparations begin to bring the rescued survivors inside, decontamination teams are placed on standby and the west tunnel is opened. However, the rescue team soon reports that many survivors were left behind and requests permission to return for them, forcing everyone to confront the brutal reality of their dwindling resources. Before a decision can be made, John discovers deep cracks forming throughout the bunker. The structure begins to shake violently, as if struck by an earthquake, and panic erupts as screams echo through the corridors. Within moments, the bunker collapses entirely. John's family and a small group of others manage to escape toward the frozen coastline. Ahead, they find abandoned lifeboats. As they scramble aboard, several people slip and fall into the icy sea. Many inside the bunker are already dead, while only a handful of survivors manage to flee, pushing out over the water in the remaining boats. With limited space, several are left behind. In the midst of the chaos, a massive tsunami slams into the coast, killing those who could not escape. Towering waves batter the lifeboat, yet it continues forward, carrying the survivors through the devastation. After some time, John checks the air quality and realizes it is now largely safe. He asks about the masks and makes sure everyone is accounted for. As they discuss their next move, the truth sets in: there is no home left to return to. Iceland is briefly suggested as a nearby option, but they soon learn it has already been destroyed. They need a clear destination. John explains that the Clark impact has altered global ocean currents, now flowing southward. With only about a week's worth of food and water remaining, Europe becomes their best chance. In the end, they decide to steer southeast toward England, hoping to reach London and find Mackenzie. If everything goes well, the journey could be completed in less than a week. The boat changes course and presses on, and before long, something begins to appear on the horizon. At first, no one understands what they are seeing, but it soon becomes clear they have reached Liverpool, England. Desperate for shelter, the group moves cautiously through streets, scavenging for food, water, and a safe place to hide. As they push deeper into the city, they learn of a nearby government bunker and make their way toward it. Their hope is short-lived. The soldiers guarding the facility refuse them entry, and in a sudden act of violence, Adam is shot and killed instantly. The remaining four manage to escape and later encounter a driver named Obi, who immigrated to England from Nigeria many years earlier. They join him in his vehicle and flee the area together. Later, they stop to rest, and Obi and John share a quiet conversation. Obi reflects on how England became his second home, though he wonders whether he would even recognize the place he once came from. They speak about France, agreeing that while it may one day be safer, it is currently far more dangerous because of what lies there. Moments later, a meteor shower strikes nearby. John kneels and touches the ground, immediately realizing that an asteroid impact is imminent. He urgently orders everyone to grab hold of the trees. A violent barrage of falling asteroids crashes down around them. The ground convulses, trees are torn apart, and chaos engulfs the area. The group survives the impact, but Obi breaks away and runs back toward his car. An asteroid slams into the vehicle, triggering a massive explosion and destroying it completely. When the storm finally subsides, devastation stretches in every direction. The survivors gather what they can from Obi's wrecked car and continue their journey toward London. Eventually, they reach Mackenzie, who is stunned to see John after so many years and quickly brings them inside. She shelters them in a sealed wing of a hospital where a generator powers an air filtration system. Others are already hiding there, surviving as best they can. Mackenzie explains that while the setup is far from perfect, it is safe enough for now. London, she says, is no longer the city it once was. During their time there, Mackenzie shares that many of the patients she treats have no idea what happened to their families or even the true scale of the comet's impact. She stayed behind long after the food ran out and the power failed because she couldn't bring herself to abandon them. That night, they sit down to eat together, feeding coal into the fire. For a brief moment, life almost feels normal again. Nearby, a child sleeps peacefully, worn out from exhaustion. John admits that the memories still haunt him and that he struggles to make sense of everything they have lost. They speak about Clark and the crater beyond, wondering if life might one day return there. Some believe the heat, water, and nutrients created by the impact could eventually give rise to new life. John believes that, for now, this place is enough far safer than the world outside. Later, Allison lies awake in bed when she hears John coughing violently. She gets up to check on him and sees blood on his lips as he struggles to breathe. It becomes clear that John is seriously ill. He tells her quietly that he doesn't have much time left. Allison is overwhelmed by the realization that, in these circumstances, John is all she and their son have left. Though Mackenzie has medicine, John knows it can only do so much. He promises that they will remain together as a family, but Allison insists they cannot stay. She wants John and Nathan to have a future, and she believes the crater offers the possibility of a new beginning. She reminds him that half of Nathan's life has already been spent simply trying to survive. In the end, they all agree that taking Nathan to the crater is essential because where they are now offers him no future at all. Mackenzie helps them prepare, providing fuel, a gun, and clear instructions. She warns them that once they head south toward Dover and attempt to cross the channel, they must not stop for anyone. Their journey continues into night. Soon after, their car is ambushed, gunfire tearing through the darkness. John fights back, killing the attackers, but Dr. Amina is tragically shot and dies in the assault. The group presses on and later finds a place to bury her, offering prayers before continuing their journey. Eventually, they reach the site where the ferry to France once operated, only to discover that the sea is gone. They drive forward until the road abruptly ends, leaving a damaged bridge that must be crossed on foot. Other survivors attempt the crossing as well, and the passage quickly proves treacherous. The bridge begins to collapse beneath their weight. When a ladder gives way, everyone clinging to it plunges into the abyss. The ground around them fractures, sending more people falling into the pit. A ladder carrying John's family begins to fail as well, but through sheer determination, they manage to cross the collapsing structure. With immense effort, they reach the other side and finally allow themselves a breath of relief. Just as they prepare to move on, an armed man named Denise appears. After a tense exchange, he allows them to stay and brings them to his vehicle, driving them into northern France. Denise leads them to his fully secured home, where he introduces them to his family and explains how they survive, using solar power, air purifiers, and a filtration system that keeps the air clean enough to live safely. During their stay, Denise reveals that his wife was exposed to radiation and can no longer speak. Later, they sit together to share a meal and talk about the crater, which many now refer to as the Promised Land, believing it may be humanity's last hope. Denise cautions them, however, that the crater is surrounded by active war zones. Amid these uneasy moments, Nathan begins to form a quiet friendship with Denise's daughter, Camille. Denise later shows John a map, explaining that the Western Alliance currently defends the crater against rival factions attempting to seize its resources. Only 2 cities casualties remain, and constant fighting has made access nearly impossible. He tells John that a safer route exists through the mountain passes and explains that when they reach the final checkpoint, they must speak with a specific commander who can help them move forward. Before they part, Denise asks John to take Camille with them, believing she might survive at the crater, even if he cannot. With that weighty request, John's family resumes their journey toward the crater. After some time, they stop to rest, sharing a brief, fragile moment of calm before continuing on. Suddenly, military soldiers appear. Camille steps forward and requests to meet the commander, and they are allowed to pass. Fully aware of the danger now, the group realizes there is only one route forward, straight through the war zone. Escorted by a captain, they navigate the deadly path, dodging relentless gunfire and sustained attacks. Against the odds, they cross the battlefield and reach the camps, only to learn that the commander has been killed. Desperate, John appeals to another officer, who agrees to help them. Under military protection, they continue their journey aboard a bus. Along the way, they are ambushed, and several soldiers are killed. With no other choice, John fights back, eliminating the attackers, but he is shot and critically wounded in the process. Allison takes control, driving at full speed toward the crater. Eventually, the vehicle can go no farther, and they are forced to continue on foot. Moments later, they reach the crater and see what they had barely dared to hope for: fertile Greenland. Knowing his family is finally safe, John allows himself to relax for the first time. He collapses to the ground and dies there. Grief-stricken, the survivors pause to pray for John before continuing forward into the crater. Please like and subscribe for more video like this. Thanks for watching.